come on over to tarotbyjanine.com, and if you're not there already, and thank you so much, everybody, for already supporting me on tarotbyjanine.com. Okay, so there we go. First house, ace. It's an ace right off the bat. Nice. That's in our ego personality. Ace, new birth, renewal. We're the end of a retrograde, just about. I think there's a few more days left, but correct me if I'm wrong on that. Astrologer types, enthusiasts who probably know better than I do if we're at the end of the retrograde, but I think we're close to it, if not on the end of it, maybe the tail end. Yeah. Okay. Second house, the house of Taurus. We've got this ancient energy being here. I call it the Alliance card, but it could also be like our future selves, our higher self, our most evolved self, version of ourself. Let's say that. That's in our what are we valuing, right? Because the house of Taurus, the second house, is about values and where you're placing your value, what's most valuable to you. And it's saying there that spiritual growth is. So that is quite interesting, isn't it? Spiritual growth is what this community is valuing. That's the kind of community I want to be in. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah. Okay. So third house, what you're manifesting with your mind. So thoughts and words. We've got a surprising card there. We got an emotional card. We may be quite emotional in the month of December and really manifesting with our feelings. So be aware of that. And we can choose to feel certain ways. Like you can feel a feeling and then choose to acknowledge that it exists, but not stay in it if it's, say, detrimental to your growth, right? So you can feel sad, feel lonely, feel these ways. And if it doesn't mean you can like dismiss those feelings. Yeah, feeling them is important, but you can also acknowledge them and choose to let them go and, be in a different place. You don't have to stay and let the feelings, once you acknowledge them, rule you. Does that make sense? Yeah, you can choose how you feel about something. You can literally choose to feel. Sometimes feelings are a reaction based in the old way we used to do things. These look a little lopsided, but I think it's the tilt of the camera just trying to fit everything in. So that's what we're doing. Okay, so there's the zodiac. Okay, so we already talked about, just for a second here, we're on this whole rebirthing. It's like we're rebirthing ourselves, and how are we rebirthing? In particular, spiritually, or coming into our highest version of ourselves. Okay, but it's through revelations that it's happening. And I mean, inside our heads kind of revelation. That card's about having a revelation. I'm having a revelation. I'm having an moment about something. Okay, that's in the deep unconscious mind. And it's about, what really matters to me, what really matters. We're letting go with this card of really caring that much about physical wealth, and I'm not to say we don't want to be comfortable and we don't want to, but it's not our first priority to chase money. I feel like that was a deep state plan anyway. Like they chase, like basically stashing money in accounts, and like a deep state way of doing things is to care about physically manifesting and hoarding abundance of cash and or monies. valuables. Okay. And I feel like the more a person evolves spiritually, the less that becomes a priority. And I think this group is really learning that. And I'm sure a lot of us were well on our way in that department anyway, before we even came into the community. I think this community is made up of more evolved souls. And it's not to say we don't want comfort, and we should have comfort here. We deserve to have comfort, especially when we're doing our work. Okay, but it doesn't mean we put it as a priority above everything else, right? This card is about what do we value most? Spiritual enlightenment, it looks like. Isn't that amazing? And becoming strong spiritually. This is a really strong card. This is across from this card. Here's what we're mentally manifesting. So we're surprising ourselves by feeling and manifesting how we're feeling. So be aware if you're waking up and in a sad, depressed, or angry kind of mood or whatever, the emotional way you conduct yourself and what you allow in your essence to be sitting in. Okay. So feeling it's one thing, acknowledging it, the emotion, I'm having this feeling, but letting it go is really important. Okay. I had a day yesterday where I was like literally ready to just like, okay, I'm going to the mountain. I'm going into a cave. I don't want to see anybody. Like I was literally, like in a mood. And I feel like, I at some point recognized, okay, this is a mood I'm in, and it's not necessary. I bet it was astrological or even the Schumann resonance. And I had a good chat with my friend Jean-Claude, and he bounced me right out of that mood, and we had a laugh. You know what I mean? And Coco really helped too. I had a good chat with her. You know what I mean? So work through those, but don't hang on to them and make them your day. Right? I could have made that my whole day. I could have ruined my whole day staying in that funk. And I really tried to work through it. I shared and I was honest, but then I let it go because it was like it was just a temporary feeling. And you don't have to be ruled by your feelings. Okay, so that's an interesting thing to note, right? Lots of people are ruled by their feelings, and it's really unnecessary. But it is necessary to feel them and acknowledge them and understand where they're coming from, and then let them go. You have to do the process. You can't just tuck them away and ignore them. That's another thing, and that doesn't work either. Okay, so yeah, so this card says, recognize you manifest with feelings very directly and really choose which ones you are willing to work with and which ones you're not. What are you willing to entertain in your day? And I literally lifted my whole day up after making some choices energy wise. It was my choice to feel a certain way, and I chose to let go of whatever it was and move my feelings in a different direction. And then manifested a great day after that. So there you go. Yeah. So all of us are learning that, and it's really, really important. And it looks like December is going to be a month of really big spiritual revelations, really big recognition of how our feelings manifest directly, and even at an heightened degree of emotionally manifesting. Like people, we already know, okay, thoughts, words, putting things out there, speaking things and writing things down are good manifestors, but how you feel ultimately is the highest developed way to manifest. Okay, so correcting feelings when difficult ones that'll keep you in a funk come up. Okay, and then choosing to feel, making a conscious choice to feel a different way. Okay, so directing your feelings in a different direction, seeing the beauty of your life, finding something beautiful too. I actually went for a drive. That really helped as well, talking to good people like Coco and Jean-Claude, that really helped. But also, like people I trust and love, but also went for a drive. And for me, just getting in the car, you're in nature. Like, it's beautiful. Like, I'm lucky that way. And I made sure I stopped at a few of my favorite beaches, like I do. I was all alone on the beach. We're December here, and you can still go to the beach. It's amazing. Like, the weather was Celsius about 1 degree, and it's not even below zero here yet. So some frosty mornings, but yeah, beaches are still a nice place to go. You just need a good, jacket on and whatever, but it's beautiful to be on a beach. But yeah, so changing your feelings and energy, and it looks like all of us are really learning that. And December, we're going to need that skill. Okay, we're going to need the skill because physically, literally in the home sense. So here's where you live. Okay. I feel like we'll really be tested with a lot of difficult feelings energetically. Okay. So we're so close to the end, but the end can be the most difficult. Say you're digging a tunnel and you're right at just before the breakthrough where you get to the other side, and out the tunnel. You're digging all the way through something, and you're just before the very last few, buckets of dirt before you're out the tunnel, the other side. I feel like we're there, and we're at that point, but it's the hardest there because now you're tired, you're weary, you're emotionally, you've been tested, like we've been tested. Okay. And I just feel like that's something holding firm in December. And I haven't said this for a long time, but we're going to have to hold the line on truth in December. There's going to be so many revelations, some of them really big spiritual revelations, but we're going to have to hold the line and hold on to what we know to be true inside our hearts, because there's tests too. December has tests, but the rewards are huge. Spiritual evolution, a heightened sense of when we learn to direct our feelings, a heightened sense of how to manifest, what to manifest, where we're focusing our energy. Our strongest manifestation this month will be when we put it towards spiritual enlightenment. Okay, spiritual knowing. And that can be, I feel like that's our biggest abundance. Okay, because when we leave the earth plane, the only thing we're leaving with is our evolution level, right? So our soul essence leaves with lessons learned and soul evolution and nothing else. None of that stuff matters. The house you're in, the cars you drive, the people you hang out with, none of it. You don't go with any of it. You only go with your evolution and your soul essence and what level of learning you got to, basically. That's for your next lifetime. You can take it with you. That's what you go with. Okay. So that's your biggest gift. And it looks like December is a big month to really get in touch with that and maybe even gauge where you're sitting with that, right? And have a real glimpse into where are you at there? How do you feel about it? Okay, and then how do you feel about it? Interesting. And what are you going to do with those feelings? Okay, and also practicing manifesting with feelings. Okay, get in the feeling of living the life you want instead of feeling how you feel that day, which could be just based in astrology, the weather, the Schumann resonance. Somebody said something nasty and you heard about it. You know what I mean? Like reading something online that makes you sad. All of those things can affect your feelings, but you can choose to focus your emotional energy in a direction and make a choice, make a conscious choice. Get yourself out in nature, spend time with children, spend time with your favorite pets, spend time, doing something pleasurable that makes you happy, and put yourself in, choose to be in a certain feeling. And then you can manifest from that. From there, it's a much better place to jump off from. Okay. Yeah. So this difficult, we're going to be tested. You bet. We're going to be tested. And there is some kind of big test. And I was getting this with Jean-Claude, and it's around saying no to things that don't work and yes to things that do. You still have options and choices. It doesn't look like it. All the signs are there that say, nope, draconian's taken over, like everywhere. All of the higher, I guess, well, we used to think of them as higher, I guess, levels of officialdom. It would appear in everybody's country, it looks like, that everybody's all of a sudden got communist governments. Have you noticed? It's unbelievable, right? So all of us, all of a sudden, okay, which tells me we're in a big giant psyop. All of a sudden we stepped into, without even noticing, a lot of people haven't even still noticed, we're in communism, basically, or something even more. I think it's evil, more evil than communism is a nice way to put it. Okay, so we're in, like, all our rights are taken away, really obviously. They already were, but now they're making it so obvious. They're making all their plays really out in the open, which leads me to believe it's a giant psyop. But anyway, you guys know my vision on that. But see this 10 here, and this, I feel like we will still see a lot of that, and it'll get more crazy. Like, if you thought the last few months were crazy, you're going to see unbelievable steps made towards sealing your fate, like with 15-minute cities, with digital IDs, with all your rights being taken away, like all of those things pending look like they really start looking like, okay, we're done. You guys, we're all in, we're in 1880 or 1984, the book, you know what I mean? We're there. But I feel like if we just hold to our vision and our spiritual knowing, okay, and hold the line spiritually with our vision that no, we're not actually, and we don't choose that. We choose our way of being in the future, and we're going to create it right alongside all of this. The gook can disappear because the matrix we're creating has nothing to do with that old stuff, okay? We can create right alongside it, but it will be hard, and you will be tested this month on that. You will be. But you'll also see some big results with it. Okay, so the big results being you will start to see the world you created. You'll start feeling it. It's starting to actually become a reality. Okay, so we're on that threshold. Okay, so here we've got the Knight of Swords. So the Knight of Swords, this is in your incoming. It's the house of Leo. This was the house of Cancer. So in our home, I like to think of it as where you live, in your hearts, in your personal, where you hold your energy. Okay, things will get hard, but hold the line. Here we have the Knight of Swords. This is out externally. So there could be military seen visually out on the street, or a lot of people really coming into their digital soldier. We could see even relatives that were not red-pilled before coming fast and furious onto the scene. We could see new truthers coming on. Of course, you always have to vet those, of course, and you have to, keep an eye on the new ones, and don't hook, line, and sinker drop everything you know for some new flashy thing over here. You know what I mean? But there will be some good ones coming on board. And I feel like just stay open to and listening until you know in your intuition, run it all by your intuition. Okay, this is somebody to listen to, or it's not. Do you know what I mean? You'll know. Okay, just tell yourself you're going to know, and you'll know. See this Two of Swords here? Yeah, sit with it. Sit with their information and feel it out. And some of them will survive, the month, and others you'll drop. Okay, but it seems like a lot of new energy input and people new on the scene. Some of them will be shills, of course, and others will be worth listening to. Okay, just they're a little late to the game, but maybe they just woke up themselves. Okay, so here, fresh eyes on is always good, though. If you get a good fresh eyes on. When I was teaching tarot, some of the new, totally first time in people, enthusiastic with the tarot, they'd never even studied it before. Meanwhile, they jump in a class with people that have been studying it for years, and they can sometimes point out things that all of us hadn't noticed. So, sometimes that's good. And of course, other times, literally, they're just grasping. Okay, so be discerning, give it time, give the new ones time, sit with their information, and then go forward carefully with caution, and you'll know who to stick with and who not to. Okay, so here's the Eight of Pentacles here, and it's across from the Tower card, my goodness. So there's so many things that could, and in particular, it looks like finances. So around financial. See that card? I'm going to pull it out of the glare a bit. This card is financial, or can be. This is in your daily routines. It's a very practical spot. It's the house of Virgo. This was the house of Leo, by the way, incoming. That's the house of Aquarius. But this is the house of Virgo. And it talks about daily routines, things happening physically to your body, or how are you feeling, or how's your health. And I feel like there's so many things. There could be huge revelations. It's really well aspected, so I'll call it revelations, about health and health practices and things within even yourself you could find, because this is within us. And it's our deep unconscious, the 12th house. Okay, the house of Pisces. And this is saying there's going to be things, revelations about things we can do, daily things we can do to keep ourselves in optimum health, and daily practices. I feel like there's a lot of things, of course, with the medical system, the way it's been, which has really just been making clients, really. It's just a big pharma, taking money like shill. It's a shill, the big pharma machine. They're paying off doctors to basically keep everybody just sick enough with medicines, which aren't anything like medicines. They're pharmaceuticals. Okay, so that's a whole different thing, right? So they're feeding us just enough poison to keep us coming back and needing more and more things. So basically but I feel like there's going to be huge revelations about how to undo that damage, and also how to keep with regular routine things, because this card does things on the regular. And it's hard work. It's not simple. So it's not like jumping in a med bed. Okay, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about things to do that you can incorporate into the way you think, behave physically, and how you're emotionally feeling, how you decide to feel. All of those things combined together can create better health, all depending on you directing them. Right? You'll be directing them, and routines that we can get in that are healthier. I feel like we'll have some big revelations around how to keep ourselves healthy. Okay, so here we've got the Hierophant here. So this is the Ace, and this is like a marriage card. Interesting. New love. Okay, I feel like we're going to meet some fantastic people, new to our family, like family, our soul family, and or new to even our soulmate collection, people that could turn into partners. Okay, so big partnering here, and or really good friendships, deep loving friendships. So look out for really new connections coming, everybody. And that could even include love connections if you're open to that, and that's what you're looking for. Okay, so strength here across from the Hermit. We already talked a little bit about the Hermit being very spiritual, and it's about our values. But this is the house, by the way, that was the house of Libra. So, and it has a marriage card in it, but it's really well aspected. So there you go. Okay, so strength here, we have that in our house of Scorpio, which is about really intense, passionate, that part of ourselves, sexuality, sexual relationships, but also life, death, and how we feel about those topics, because they're huge, like just really huge, transformational kind of energies in our lives. We are much stronger on all of these fronts. We're stronger, our idea and knowing and wisdom about death, our wisdom about life and how to live it, our wisdom about, we're really coming into ourselves. I feel really good about these cards here. Spiritually, also it's a deep spiritual, the house of Scorpio can be very spiritual. And it's like our biggest strength right now, and it keeps reiterating this every which way I look at this layout, is going to be spiritual practices and how we feel internally connected to our soul essence. That's our biggest strength right now. Okay, so, and getting through this month as well. I'm going to just put that one in the middle. We'll talk about that right at the end. Here we've got the Eight of Cups. This is in the house of Sagittarian. So it talks about your philosophies, the way you think about things, how you're seeing things philosophically. Okay. And like just in the greater world sense, how do you view the world right now? Things like that. And this card says, well, actually, a lot of us want to take a little time off the world, actually. And we're more interested in soul searching. We feel like something's missing, like we're creating our world, but we're still missing something. The thing we're missing is that the rest of the world doesn't know about this yet. And it may never, some of them may never, like Dolores Cannon, predicted, we could just split apart from those and actually create our own reality sort of alongside the other. I mean, it might go like that, right? But right now, it's not all the way split yet. We're still really often right in the face of these people that have no clue of what's going on. And it can be difficult. We're still working in jobs, some of us, alongside people like that. We still have family members, even partners like that. Okay, so until that day, as that big split does come, if it actually happens like that, okay, or those people actually finally come alive and awake, which would be nice, because some of them, we love them, so we don't want to be split away from them. Okay, so however it manifests, I feel like we're not quite there yet, okay, but we're feeling the desire for that. Okay, to really get to that place. And here across from it, the Page of Cups here. So surprising ourselves with, so the big thing is emotions and spiritual sort of evolution this month. Okay, all the other things seem secondary, like politics and money situation. I think we're caring less about that. And I feel like that'll be a big part of how we enter into that fifth dimension. If some of us still feel like we're not all the way in there, and some people say they are, but I don't know if they're still talking to us. Maybe they're not quite there yet. I don't think we're all quite there yet. You know what I mean? But we're definitely close, though, you guys. We're close. Okay, but this is a process. This is a evolution process. So yeah, definitely taking time. Okay, here we've got the 10th house. So career, traditionally it was thought of, but also if you could think of where you're going to be, if you could imagine where you're going to be by this time next year, this drops you up there. Okay, so even though it's so hard, here's the reward we're getting out of all of this hardship. So this year's been hard. 2025's been hard. We are more equipped going into 2026, and in 2026 we're sharper, we're more intuitive. We've learned to manage we're just starting. Some of us are just starting. I've been learning this one for my whole lifetime, but it's still hard to do, managing your feelings and directing them so they can actually manifest for you. Feelings and emotions are some of the strongest manifestors. They're even more powerful than thoughts and words. Okay, although thoughts and words and feelings, you line those up and now you got instantaneous manifestation. Yeah, you bet. So some practice. Maybe we still need a little, I do anyway, practice there, because there's a page, so it's not a king or a knight, you know what I mean? So, or a queen, so it's not as evolved. But this one here says the Queen of Wands, we're going to be even sharper on those notes. We're going to be even more powerful intuitively. And she's also sovereign. She even has a good sense of humor. We might even laugh about some of these crazy things that happened here in the last 5-6 years. Like, really? Well, wasn't that COVID lockdown hilarious? Yeah, I don't know about that, but it would be fun to laugh some of that off. It gives it less power, doesn't it? Yeah. Anyway, so then now we got the 2 here across. Again, this is the house of Aquarius. So really, this is about new incoming romances, friendships. So I do feel like there could be some really big loves coming in, and that could be friendships or even lovers, but we're going to be very discerning. And anybody that's too pushy or fast or too trying to like, we have really good boundaries now. So keep up the boundaries and you'll know who gets to come in that gate and who doesn't. Okay. Yeah. We're stronger. We're stronger now. We're more discerning, and what kind of groups we hang out with. We're more discerning about that too. 12th house of Pisces, so the house of your deep unconscious and what you're creating. It's like we want to tear it down. It's like we're daring the world to. I am literally so ready to see banks crash, governments crash, all systems come on down. And they've been coming and crumbling, and some of them are down, and we don't even technically see it yet. I feel like that when I look at the cards, you can see that some of these things are already down, but I feel like I'm daring it in the way I'm feeling these days. Kind of, there's a recklessness energy there that just wants to see something just go down in front of us. Okay, even a big leader that we know is corrupt, or a deep stater, or just somebody show themselves on live television or something. Not that I watch television. So show those normies what lizards they are, something like that. Like, could we just, okay. And I feel like things like that could happen this month. We could have some wild revelations that even the normies can't ignore. Okay. That'll happen right out in the open. And I'm hoping that's, well, there's so many ways we could go with that. That could be people being arrested. That could be, but generally speaking, our biggest energies here are spiritual, where we truly step into a whole nother level. A lot of us already feel like that's happening. And also we've really adjusted our values to truly reflect where we've got to spiritually. So that's powerful. By this time next year, we're even laughing about some of this. Well, that'll be interesting. I can't wait. Okay. And we've really, we've just been given the go-ahead to practice managing our emotions. So if you haven't already started doing that, you might want to get working on that, because you'll be really tested this month emotionally. And I feel like that's Schumann, astrological, and just what the world's doing. It'll look really bad, but actually be improving incredibly. So yeah, wow. Okay. Now let's talk about this middle one, surrender. That's my surrender card. We're going to need to surrender with these 10s, 2 10s, and so many good things coming, freedom and spiritual evolution and more intuitive, being able to manifest better. But we have to surrender to, we're basically in the, that last stage of marination, breaking down all of that old programming and all that old stuff that we don't need anymore. We have to surrender all of it and let it go. All of those ego attachments to a kind of the demonic sort of possessed thoughts and practices of our past that, unbeknownst to us, we were brought up in, that kind of thing, right? Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. This has been the December Zodiac 2025, and I'm sending everybody ravens. Don't forget, come on over to tarotbyjanine.com. If you're not watching this here, this was bootlegged, and you want to maybe make a noise about it, and I would appreciate it. Thank you so much, everybody. Room to get the Zodiac on here. It looks pretty good. And I will move the cards over to the large display. And actually, let's do that right now so I don't forget. Hang on. Yeah, there we go. Yep, here we go. The big Zodiac. Oh, boy. Already, just look at how bright these are. Just want you to have a look at how much yellow is in these. Okay, that's good. That's good. The more bright and yellow and positive with sixes. Sixes are a really great number, and we got a couple of sixes right off the bat. Wow, really nice so far. I think we could have a calmer November, although that might not be what everyone's looking for, because, people do want things to move along, right? That's the Chariot. It's a little bit bright. Here, let's turn this a little that way. See if we can get that less glary. Okay. Yeah, that can work. Just gonna bring those down. That's a 5, by the way. Doesn't quite fit on there, but let's do that a little. Fitting this many cards in a card spread is a little tricky sometimes. There, I think that should do it, hey? We can see them all, I think. Here we go. So that's my zodiac, guys, for November. Let's see what we have. I'm going to put one right in the center as well. Make sure I got that right. 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, yep. This looks a little wonky, that's all. Yeah, okay, that'll do it. Yeah. Right in the center, the 3 of Cups. Wow, that is amazing. The 3 of Cups is a celebration. So right away, it's like the universe says, we're going to have cause for celebration. And, as far as I'm concerned, the more you already get to the place of celebrating that somehow humanity's won, the quicker we get there. Like, you guys know I've said that a lot, right? The more we focus on our wins and that we are winning this and that humanity can't lose, if you just decide that, okay, you'll have a lot more chance of really coming to that place you want to be. Okay, we are what we think and speak about. We become that. Okay, so important to remember that we have a lot to do with how things will look to us. So never mind what someone else says they are. How does it feel to you? Create the feeling of, we've got this, we're winning this. Create that feeling within yourself and hold it and go back to it, especially when there's setbacks, right? It's so important to remember that. Okay, so the first house, we've got the 6. A 6 is a good number. 6s are really good numbers. Okay, we've got 2 of them right in a row. That's good news. Okay, and notice how everything here is a lot lighter than, say, this really dark and stormy card. So we've got one big dark and stormy card right next to the death card, which says that's coming to an end. But this dark and stormy card is in the deep unconscious. It's in the 12th house. So a lot of that, this is a fear and loathing kind of card. Okay, it's putting out a lot of loosh. You guys know, like, it took me a while to learn loosh and what that meant, but once you learn it, you never forget. Okay, and it feels like that's mostly coming from our imagination or fears. Okay, so we're not really in a bad spot. We're just thinking we are. Okay, so let's keep looking. So we've got this first house, Aries ruled. And it's the house of your ego and describes how do we go into the month of November? How are we approaching it? Okay, as a community. So we're talking about the community when I say we, or the community and everyone who's watching. Okay, so the 6 of Cups, there's a friendly kindness to that. There's approaching with kindness and openness. So that's interesting. I feel like we're in a little better shape than some of the zodiacs I've done over the year. We weren't in such a good place. We're in a fairly good place. I think October really did serve us up. Somebody was telling me, no, it definitely wasn't a red October. It was more like a peachy pink or fleshy pink colored October. Okay, I get what they were saying. It might not have been as totally intense as what you'd call a red October out in the world, but for a lot of people individually, it really was that intense. For myself, speaking for myself, I had a really intense October right from the start, all through it. And to me, it was an emotional roller coaster of high intensity. So I couldn't say it wasn't a red. It was a red October for me in lots of ways. And I did notice even out in the world, it was maybe it was just the state I was in, but there was a lot of stuff shifted in October. Some of it for good, a lot of it. Well, I think all of it will play out for good, but some of the shifts were pretty intense. Okay, so that's everybody's going to have a different opinion about that. But we're going into November in better shape, I think, and on a better plateau. And that could have had something to do with upgrades in the background, things that were happening. It's almost like we're being marinated and prepared for the new reality we're all going to be living in. Okay, very void of the old oppression, but it's going to take some getting used to. Okay, and we're going to need to be there for each other. This card's really there for each other, and also be kind and welcoming to the new people coming aboard, because from everything I'm seeing, a lot of people are flocking over to communities like this. It really does look like that. Okay, and I feel like we'll really see it. We're gonna notice it this month. Okay, look at this 6 here. So this is the second house. So the house of where your values are. It's the Taurus. So that's the Aries house, ego self. But this is maybe the house of, you could say, what you value, or talks about where you're putting your values. And this is interesting because self-value. So we're putting a lot of value on our own selves. In other words, self-loving, working on our self-love. We're working on how we view ourselves, giving ourselves a little pat on the back. If you're not doing that already, maybe you should take yourself out on a date. I do that, take yourself somewhere you really like, go get yourself a piece of pie and ice cream. That would work for me as a date. I love that kind of date. Yeah, I'm pretty easy to please these days. You know what I mean? Do something kind for yourself. Take yourself to your favorite nature spot. Take yourself to a movie. People don't do that enough. Like, just take yourself out and be your own best company. It's fun, actually. Yeah. Take yourself on a little drive, listen to your favorite tunes. You know what I'm saying? Right? So give yourself a little pat on the back here. This card wants to celebrate you, each one of us. Celebrate where we've come from. Look where you were 5 years ago and where you are now. Take a minute and feel proud of yourself. Okay? We're valuing ourselves a little more. And I think that's a really healthy place to be. I really do. Okay, next card here. We've got, this is interesting. This is the third house of what you're thinking about, verbally speaking about. So what are you putting out there? It's the house of Gemini. So it's about communicating. What are you communicating? Because we now know, and we've, a lot of us have known for years, that what you think, speak about, talk about on the regular, and assume, like, your energy output is exactly going to reflect what's coming back at you, right? So if you're always talking smack about things, being a downer, being mad about everything and assuming the worst, guess what, right? You'll just stay in that sort of pit of all that kind of energy, right? And the more you can see your way clear out of and speak about, for instance, this is a financial card, your finances as if they're already improved, as if they're daily improving, as if you're open to all of the abundance that's coming your way. Have some mantras that reflect where you actually want to be, not where you feel like you're sitting right now. Talk about it as if you're already there. That's literally the way to get to the place you want to be in whatever area. But this card's talking about what our mental output is. And I feel like a lot of us have learned this with this card being here, that what we speak about, think about, and put our energy out there towards is going to actually attract it. We're even going to be surprised, because this card's a bit surprised, at what we attract for ourselves and how it comes to us. It may not come in the form we thought. Like what you think is abundance, the universe might provide its version of abundance to you, and it could come in a completely different way. Okay, but the trick is to recognize when the abundance does come and to be thankful for it. Okay, so really interesting cards here. I feel like we're all ready to really get on that next level of, in every way, abundance in health, abundance in our friendships, like flowing, just get in on a good plateau for a while. Okay, in lots of different areas, and start to really feel everything we've learned and worked so hard for. Let's get some rewards for that. And actually, to be honest, November looks like we're going to personally start feeling the rewards. Like, and that feels really good. These are really personal cards. The first 4 in the zodiac spread are all about you. Okay, the other ones going up this way, they're about the outside world and the external world, but these are about us. And I feel like we are in a really good place. Okay, and we just need to notice where we are and be thankful for it. Okay, being thankful for and noticing what you do have, that's the quickest way to actually get to that place you want to be. Okay, now here we've got the strength right on the root. So the strength is in the 4th house of Cancer. So it's sitting right within you. It's like in your heart, really. It's like inside you, because that's where you live, where you actually live, right? Who you're most accountable to is your own self, right? And the strength card is, again, a trophy. We've got some trophy cards here. We've got that 6 of Wands, which is about take a lap, take a victory lap. And then this card here, which says, you know what? Recognize how strong you are. Recognize how much strength you've gained through, even if it's been hard. We've gained so much intuitively. We've gained so much in personal strength, how not to fall into negative thought patterns, how not to fall back into self-loathing. Like the amount of work we've done, so worth it. And it's starting to really show in like how we feel about ourselves and what we're actually creating out there. So this is good. This is good. Okay, it may not be as fast as we want it with that 5 of Cups. 5 of Cups are setbacks emotionally and set us back. And sometimes we tend to dwell on what we don't have. But for the month of November, I got a feeling it'll be a lot easier to stay positive thinking and stay in what we do have. This card up here at the top, the 10th house, it's the house of Capricorn. We may find ourselves slipping back over the holidays possibly and into the new year, back into kind of being disappointed in everything we had to give up, all the friends we lost. Okay, but this is a temporary setback card. And I feel like all we have to do is come back to that nice grounded energy here that we have available to us here in November. Really cultivate that and take it into your new year so you don't spend too much time in this. This is a bit of a dark place, but it doesn't last long. And it's more about lamenting the past or what you lost. And it's important to notice these 2 cups that are right behind this guy, to notice, well, what do you have though? What do you have? You know more about how the world actually works. You have a closer connection to yourself. Your new community, even if it's smaller, it's very likely smaller than it was 5-10 years ago, is very likely more authentic. There's more authenticity because you're not going to allow in non-authentic people. You have a lot more discernment. You have a lot more intuitive knowing. Okay, so yeah, you had to give up some family members and maybe stop going to, some of the kind of public functions you used to go to. I can't really go and sit in cafes and just chat with strangers as much as I used to because I get in arguments and stuff, get myself into trouble. You know what I mean? Especially if there's people talking woke stuff next to me or something, I just can't help myself. I have to chime in, and I'm not usually very popular. So yeah, we need to understand that no, we don't have some of the things, and we don't get to do some of the things we used to do and just take for granted. But guess what? What we've gained, like this 2 of Cups behind, this guy needs to remember what he's gained and not cry about what he's lost here. Okay, and this Strength card tells me right now, this month, I really feel like it's time to count blessings. This is a counting blessings month, and time for celebration too. Okay, get ourselves ready, because there are going to be next year some slipping back into old patterns, maybe even lamenting once we get time to really breathe and realize the world will never, ever, ever, ever be what it used to be. How you grew up is not going to be available to your children. It's all new, and we have to create it from scratch. Yeah, all of that's true, but to me, that's really exciting. But at some points early in the new year and into next year, you might get a little, down in the dumps about that. Okay, so take what you're feeling this month with you, carry it into that. And have it somewhere in your reserve so you can pull it up when you're going to need, because you might need it. Here, looking at this card, this jumps us up a year from now and says, yeah, we might be going over some disappointments, maybe even about how things were handled, maybe even about how the White Hat Alliance handled it. Okay, but it's important to remember what we gained and not just lament about what we lost or how it didn't go. We need to look at, well, what did occur? Maybe it was exactly what was needed, right? Okay, so this is the 5th house, so ruled by Leo. So the 5th house of Leo, this was the house of Cancer, so it's more internal. This is the coming, so what's coming in. Okay, there's a lot of energy coming in here in the month of November. Makes a lot of sense. I always find November to be a very social month. Okay, it's lots of activity. People are moving around a lot, getting ready. Of course, in North America, they're getting ready for maybe both Thanksgiving in the U.S., but also that's a big deal. And also maybe it's a bigger deal than it even is in Canada. Thanksgiving isn't such a big deal in Canada, or maybe some families still think it is, but our family, we just ignore it pretty much. I had one little turkey dinner there that was fun, but mostly we just don't even notice. But I'm going to say the Americans make a big deal out of it. And then, of course, there's Christmas on the heels of. So if you're North American and a Christian person, or even were just brought up that way, it's you likely still celebrate or at least get together with friends. So things start to get really social. There's a lot of things to go to or be, invited to and like that. Okay. And not everybody's doing those kind of social things. Like I said, a lot of people are too disappointed in others to be doing that. Okay. But there's some energy that really builds up in November, I find. Okay. And it's just getting us ready. And it could even be just getting us ready to be able to really tuck in the colder climates and get ourselves so we have some activity in November, because we're going to be really socked in December, January, February, and sometimes even March, depending on where you live. If you're in northern climes, Okay, so this card here is looking safely, okay, but this is someone else's energy safely coming in, okay? So I feel like people will be trying to get in to your orbit, okay, in November. What you need to do is really, really be discerning about who you allow in. Now, this has been an ongoing theme for, I think, several zodiacs. So comment in the comments, haven't I been getting this for several zodiacs? Being careful about who you let in, and never being looking at things you've done in the past and just not repeating the patterns. How you've been with others, who you've let close to you. I feel like we've grown up so much, we've quantum leaped so much, we've taken that leap, and we're never going to be the naive fools we've been in the past as a human race. I feel like it'll be hard pressed to fool, especially this community. Okay, so there could be people coming in who are unsavory types, or maybe even just want to test us. Maybe we're even getting sent some tests. So be aware and really put everybody through the paces, at least even if you're doing it quietly from the background. Don't just open arms, make new friends and stuff. And I know that sounds a little overly cautious, but I feel like it's still a good idea you need to really understand who you're letting close, and don't be too fast to just believe everything everybody says. You know what I mean? Just maybe watch what they do out there, and even on their social medias and etc. So they're saying this to you, but how are they behaving out in the world? How do they treat others when you're with them in public? Stuff like that. Keep your cards a little close to your chest when it comes to new acquaintances, friends, or even new potential relationships, stuff like that. Okay, now we've got the Chariot here. So we've got the Chariot in our daily routine, talks about our health, but also talks about your work world. If you work a 9 to 5, nowadays it's more like 7 to 6. You know what I mean? They added hours to the 9 to 5s. Have you noticed? Yeah. So in kind of regular people kind of jobs, and a lot of people are still doing jobs like that. You know, that's how they're making a living. But we do have the Chariot here across. I feel like travel could be a little sketch in November, and that could just be things going on. If a lot of the things go on that we believe could be going on, and we're expecting to go on, some of them we thought would go on in October, but it feels like they're stretching it out into November and probably December, January as well. That's how this whole theater's been playing out. I do feel like, though, there could be some moments where travel is probably not the thing to do. Okay, so maybe not the whole month, of course, but I'm just saying, really check in with your instinct, intuition, and then of course be watching out there and what's going on in the world in your neck of the woods, because there are going to be moments here in the month of, and some days in the month of November that could be really, not that safe to travel. So and it depends, of course, on where you're traveling, from where to where, all of that. So checking in with your instincts and intuitions, your best bet on that. And of course, keeping up on top of, world of, news in the world, not just in your little tiny area. You know what I mean? Keep an eye on world news. And I don't mean the mainstream media kind, right? I'm talking about, out there in Trutherland, to know, if it's safe, or do we have a pending potential lockdown or whatever. Like just being aware of your surroundings, because this could be a month when some of those things go down. And in fact, I'd even say there's a high likelihood of it. So just to be aware of, your surroundings before you make travel plans. Okay, so here we've got the Hierophant here, and that's across from the 6 of Cups, across from the Hierophant, and these are around marriages. I feel like there could be some really interesting connections made, even though we're going to be really careful, and we're being asked by the universe to be careful with incoming. Some people in this group might meet their life partner in the next month. There could be some big connections, but also some tests with either varieties of people that are like the ones in the past that have not worked out. Okay, we don't want to repeat old patterns. Okay, but some of us, and I'm, I don't know which ones of you out there, let us know in the comments how it works out by the end of November if this happens to you. But it feels like if you're looking for a life partner, some of you might just find one in the month of November. But again, being cautious and safe, and really taking your time, and not just, letting anybody in, because you are worthy and have done the work and deserve a good partner. Okay, but some of you will be meeting a life partner this month. So that's exciting. And especially it's exciting if that's what you're looking for. Okay, so here we've got the Knight of Pentacles here. That's in, that's the 8th house of Scorpio. This was the 7th house of relationships, marriages, partnerships, big partnerships. I feel like the people that do meet past life or there's a past life flavor to some of these big relationships. So some of our community will experience actually meeting their life partner. I don't know how many, but some of them will. It's coming into the cards here. And the people they meet, they might not know it. They might have just met them in November, but there's going to be some big connections come out of it. And also it looks like their past life connections, and they were meant to be. So there's some meant to be big comings togethers here for some of the people watching this video. Exciting. So here we've got the Knight of Pentacles. That's in the 8th house of Scorpio. So the house of really intense shifts spiritually, losing people. But like, because Scorpio is about death, births, deaths, that kind of thing. I feel like there's people coming. There's people, so there could be some children coming. There could be some children coming into people's families, okay, in the month of November. And I feel like the children coming, so any children coming into your family, so you could be their auntie, you could be their own mother, you could be their father, you could be their uncle, you could be their cousin, second cousin, family members having children. So some people's families are actually having some children that feel like they're here to help mend this world. Okay, so everything doesn't just go perfectly. Like, we are going into a whole new level of consciousness, and we're going to rebuild our world, but it's going to take time. You guys, it's going to take time, and we're going to need some of these new children coming in. Okay, so the children being born now, I feel like are going to be really, really spiritual in a way, but also really grounded in a way, and really will be very practical and useful and helpful at rebuilding and structuring our new way of living. Yeah, so they talk about the golden age, but I don't think it's just overnight it's a golden age. I think it's going to take probably for some of us the rest of our lifetime in building and working towards. Okay, but for me, I'm really excited about that because I love to work. I like to work at things, right? You'd never be able to, like, retiring. That's even a funny word to me. I can't even fathom it, right? So I'm just getting going, but I don't mean hard work and hard labor, but I like to contribute energetically, and I feel like it keeps us youthful and young. So the whole idea of just, I don't know, sitting around twiddling my thumbs would just bore me just to tears. I'm not like that, right? There's so many things and ways you can be useful, and we're going to all need to pitch in when we rebuild, as we rebuild the new world. And I just can't wait till the big theater part of it really switches off so we can get to the real building, But I feel like there's children coming that are really, really just coming here just to help with that. And I'm excited to meet them. I'm excited to meet my new great niece. It's going to be exciting to meet her. And there's another one on the way to the couple that lives right in the cabin, very close to me. They're having a baby like in January, or who knows when the baby comes, but it could come in the next month and a half kind of thing. Anyway, that's when it's due. So it's going to be exciting. So with that Knight of Pentacles there, I just feel like there's some beautiful souls coming in, and they're going to be really helpful. And we should celebrate them when they come. Yeah, awesome. And of course, with all of these really more evolved, and I'm not saying everybody's like that, but I am talking to this fantastic community, and I know there's a whole lot of us really, really evolved peoples in the community. We see it, we feel it. You wouldn't even be listening to this if you weren't. And it feels like, this community, you will see coming into all the various different families. You're going to see what I mean when the new kids come. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. And the fun thing about it is if somebody in the community is the one having the children, okay, or even you have something to do with those children in their bringing up. I mean, think about all of this evolution, and then we get these evolved souls, and they come into families with more evolved people in them than in the past. Okay. Wow. Just think about how far that can go, right? I mean, all of us star seeds, we likely were the only one in our family that was awakened. Okay. And that's a lonely place to be, but I don't think these children are going to have that loneliness. I feel like there's a lot bigger community for them to be in. And that'll just really help them get in touch with their true mission a lot sooner and help them feel more welcome. Okay, so here we've got the Page of Cups there. So that sort of further goes to really surprising children with really surprising gifts that are coming. Okay, there's that. But then it's right across from the King of Pentacles here. So there are some surprises in the financial world. Okay, so we all know there's a death going on in that world where the old ways are dying, and very likely, and I believe they've already died in the background, and it's a matter of literally having the normies sort of clue into what's been going on. Okay, but I also think that the ones that are ahead and seeing ahead, like this community, they're going to also see the new situation evolving that will create all the abundance that's been talked about. Okay, so we're going to get big glimpses of that too, and coming from in surprising ways, like this card surprises you. Okay, so let's have a look at, this is in the 10th house. So that was the house of Sag. Okay, so that was the 9th house, and it's across from the 3rd. So 3rd and 9th. This is the 10th house, so the house of Capricorn, the house of, so this kind of drops us up a year from now. And we could experience some disappointment once we're finally sort of by this time next year. So a lot's changed by this time next year. We could have time, maybe even too much time on our hands to kind of really start to feel everything we lost through this big thing that's been going on, this war. And we could, some of us, get stuck in, crying about it, feeling depressed about it and bummed out. And having that feeling is natural and healthy even, but letting go of the feeling and not hanging on to it. That's what you want to do with this card here. This card says, don't forget, don't get too fixated on everything you lost. Because sometimes when we get a chance, when we're finally on that other side of all of this, and we get a chance to sort of take a breath, and we're not always in fight mode like it feels like I've been in for years and years here. I feel, and I bet you a lot of you feel that way, I feel like we might get a little bummed out. We might even get bummed out about now we're not in that warrior mode, and it's more relaxing, and that could even, some of us could find a little depression there because we've gotten so used to the adrenaline and the news rush, I call it, with every single day looking at the news, and you just shake your head and you can't believe the theater that's going on. But if that's no longer happening, and then it's just the hard work of rolling up your sleeves and actually getting to work rebuilding our world, that part might be more boring or disappointing. Okay, or just not as exciting. Let's just say that. Okay, so just remember that might happen. And if it does, remember, let it go. Like, find a way to come back to your personal strength and celebrate what we've gained through this. Like, yeah, it's been really hard and we've lost a lot, but wow, look what we're gaining, Okay, so here we've got the Death card here. So that would be in the house of the 11th house of Aquarius. So friends, how we're dealing with friends, acquaintances, incoming energies. And like I was saying, we're really, really different than we were even 5 years ago, a lot of us. And we'll never again be in some of the positions. The death card says you're never going to be back where you were back here. But you're still not all the way to your new self when it comes to these things. So I feel like friendships are going to be in a bit of a transition, at least in November. And who you're allowing in, you still might get tricked a little bit or allow the wrong people in, but I don't think it'll last long. And I feel like you'll notice a lot quicker. You're more intuitive now. We're all more intuitive. And I feel like you'll let it go. And so if you do step back into some of those old patterns, trust yourself. You'll take the right step quickly. Yeah, it's not going to last long. And the death card says we're never going to be back entirely where we've been. We're going forwards into all new kinds of connections with people. Okay, so this is the house of Pisces, and it's the deep unconscious. And sometimes our fears show up in this one. And this is exactly what's going on here. This is a card that fears, so mentally, so swords, thoughts and words, fears the worst. Okay, but meanwhile, across from it is this spectacular card that says, actually, we're moving fast into that new world that we've all been talking about. Okay, we're fast moving in there, and it could even be going, like picks up a lot of speed here, November, December, January. And I feel like that could get a little worrisome. So when we finally start getting exactly what we want, like so publicly things being known and disclosures, even our families hearing about things we've known about for years, things like that. When we finally get things like that, we could start stressing. Right? Because, that can be stressful when you finally get what you want. So be aware that their unconscious stresses could creep up. Finally, when you get what you visualized and been waiting for and yearning for, talking about for so long, that can actually, our self can feel really stressed about that, because it's like you're waiting for when's the other shoe to drop, and when's this going to disappear again, or when are we going to find out it's all a psyop again, or whatever, wherever your mind goes. I feel like that a big problem this month for people, one of the things they'll have to work on is that dread and stress of okay, this is going too fast, too good. This is like some good things could happen really fast, let's say in November, and we could start stressing that, oh, it's all going to backfire. It's all going to just blow up on us, or this could be a trick from the deep state. So accepting when good things happen and just sitting quietly with them and letting them sink in. And don't go to fear mode right away, because you're scared you're going to get fooled again. I mean, it's going to be hard, but we're going to have to kind of get some mantras ready so we don't spend too much time over here, okay? Because that can really waste our time. I like this Three of Cups in the very middle. So it's like a joyous celebration card. And I do think there's going to be cause to celebrate. And even if you don't see it out in the world, maybe create it in your own life, because every one of us needs this. We need to feel that uplift, find something to get excited about and to celebrate. And it catches on too. It's like more of it creates out there in the world, the more people are, it's almost like a vibrational, well, it is a vibrational energy, and you can lift entire rooms just walking in them with a big smile. Do you know what I mean? Like, I practice that. I've always practiced it. Okay. Way back before I was a tarot card reader, and while I was studying tarot, I worked in the service industry, which, by the way, I loved. Okay, a lot of people get really stressed out. I was a waitress and a bartender, various different times, both those jobs. and worked in the service industry of serving people either drinks or food or both. And I absolutely loved it because I would practice like just bringing the energy up in the room with my attitude and kindness and happiness. And I bring a lot of joy into the room. And of course, not everybody's affected by it. And some people are, I was probably meeting dark cultists and people in those kind of environments and didn't have a clue that that's who I was up against. But of course, there's always people that you can't lift and you don't even need to, worry about those guys. But I just brought the energy in and I practiced it. It was like a ritual of mine. Okay. And I couldn't do it every time, of course, but when I was able to bring that, my whole night just went way better. And so did everybody else's. And that was a gift I brought. And I was thankful for that. I loved that work, by the way. It was super fun. I loved meeting complete strangers and having really interesting interactions with. I highly recommend everybody when they're young does a stint in service industry. Anyway, thanks everybody, and sending you all ravens. And yeah, love you guys. Bye-bye. Okay, so I'd go with a yes on that. And yes, that's one of the ways, certainly with the major arcana, another way to say yes here. But this card too is very positive. And it basically says this is only one of them. All of the things that Trump's doing, Trump being sort of the, I guess he would be the brand that they're using, White Hat Alliance. That's really who I'm talking about, right? Trump's their brand. They use the Trump brand. Okay, that's what I mean when I say Trump. Okay, so see the 8 here, that's one of the ways. Okay, so it's saying in so many ways, and everything the White Hat Alliance is doing is all to that end. Okay, so everything's to disclose and get you to tie all the pieces together. Okay, and people like that guest on that Benny Johnson show that I just shouted out there. Okay, you might want to go watch that because he was really good at, he's been doing it for years, I'm sure, really tying things together. That was one heck of a lot of information that guy gave. Okay, so here we've got the page. Yeah, so yes is everywhere. So yes, what I just said. Oh my goodness. Okay, and it's the desire that we all learn about these things. So the whole thing is designed so that not just this community, but everybody starts figuring this out. Okay, it's like working the muscles for everybody to really go and explore all the connections too, like who's connected to who's like, when they talk about all the drugs going, in and out of all the countries, et cetera, and ruining all the communities, guess who's doing it? Your own governments have been doing it. Okay, so everybody's governments were infiltrated, okay, by said Zionist / Khazarian mafia. Okay, over the years they've been infiltrated and completely used to run every kind of illegal operation and immoral and downright demonic and disgusting operation that's been going on all over the world. So your worst enemies are your governments, okay, government agencies that were designed to do these things. The U.S. aid that, the Trump administration is outing, okay, they were all created just to hide stuff. And the JFK senior files actually out the conception of U.S. aid and how it was conceived and then carried out, and how they wanted to hide all of their activities behind it without actually, having to go to the government to say what they were doing. So it was a way that they could do their black operations. Okay, so it's all in the files. Okay, and that's why they're releasing them, and that's why, you might not find the smoking gun you were looking for, but you're going to find some smoking guns. So there's a big old yes. And the real thing is they want just regular folks to start looking at this stuff. So I highly recommend, if you find some good videos like that Benny Johnson one I just shouted out there, share them and then talk about why you're sharing them. Okay, brilliant. Wow. Okay. By the way, speaking of IAP members, there's a 15% off right now for IAP. So if you want to join Jean-Claude's Beyond Mystic Insider Access Pass, okay, you might want to get in on this 15% off. It's a really good deal. Right on. Now, my second look today is like a lot of people are asking me to look at silver again. Okay. And I'm wearing I love silver. By the way, at the conference this weekend, we just had a conference, the Beyond Mystic conference. It was an absolute smash hit. Okay. If you haven't heard already, it was absolutely fantastic. It was so much fun to meet everybody, and we just had so much fun. And there was a couple of different guys talking about monies, okay? And what was interesting was both of the keynote speakers that talked about, or I guess they were more talking about gold and silver, okay? So we had Brix Weir and Andy Shepman, okay? And they both did keynote speaks on gold and silver and, you know, the financial system, et cetera, all the wisdom they bring. But it was interesting because what came out was silver, okay, and it's probably why I love it, conducts spiritual energy. Okay, so that was just one of the things that came out. I think it was an Andy Shepman for sure, public speaking about it, but I'm not sure about Brix Weir, but you know, he has said that before. But silver to me is like there's something really spiritual about it. When you wear it, like when I put it on, I feel like I channel better. Okay, so like I kind of drip in silver. I love silver. I'm like a gypsy that way. Excuse the term if that's an offense. I don't mean it in an offensive way, but I'm like you know, they used to sew silver coins to their outfits and everything. Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm like that. I must have been one of those guys in a past life. Anyway, let's have a look at how silver going to do. What I'm really asking is, will it actually reach that $600 mark per ounce in the next year? Will it reach it? And if so, you know, when abouts, and if not, why not, kind of thing. We'll just see what we can get around it. See what's silver looking like here, because there's a lot of people that, like me, love silver. And right now it's still, you know, affordable to actually get, you know, buy yourself some, right? But I mean, if it goes up like gold's been going up, okay, not for long kind of thing. So it'd be good to know. Okay, so in the past, because we know they've been doing all kinds of manipulations, we know the central banks are responsible for keeping silver in the place it's been kept. Meanwhile, they're hoarding it, okay, probably because they know what's going to happen. Okay, so we've got the 5, so that's kind of manipulation and stuff. It's also been part of the war. So silver's been really part of this, what we call information, you know, this white hat, dark hat war. We've been in this secret war, this quiet war. Okay, it's not so quiet lately, though. It's really got a lot louder, I feel. So the war we've been in, okay, and it's felt like at least 6 years we've officially been at war with the deep state. Personally, I think the White Hat Alliance has been at war with the deep state quietly for a lot longer. I mean, even looking at what I said earlier about JFK Sr., it looks like maybe some early version of White Hat Alliance is who planned the actual fake shooting kind of thing. I believe it was all faked, but you know, that's just me, and that's my cards agree there on that one. Okay, but let's have a look. Yeah, so they've been around for a really long time. So this war we've been fighting, silver's been a big part of it, okay? And even the fact that a lot of truthers love silver and talk about it, I feel like it's because we could, like, just regular people could afford to get involved in it, and or at least hold their like, so you could take your dollars that are you know, like the value is disintegrating by the minute. Just look at the Canadian dollar. It's so bad right now. It's the worst it's ever been, right? So our dollar isn't worth so much. Okay, but quite a few years ago when I first got excited about silver myself, I always wondered why I loved it so much, but I started purchasing silver, just little bits when I could afford it, right? And I'm so glad I did, because now I got some money sitting in like wealth, I guess, for my children, etc., saved in silver. Okay, that eventually, if it does really go up, and it's certainly not going to lose value, in my opinion, maybe for short amounts of time, but I feel like it's more of a way to reserve or save your wealth, because at least it's not sitting in dollars every single minute going down in value. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that's kind of the simple reason why I love silver and why I purchased myself some, and just it holds your wealth somewhere. Okay. So then when everything settles down and we got a new system in place, a more sovereign system financially, we can go spend some of that silver, maybe even just trade it straight across for things, if things go the way I believe they will, right? So that's the idea. And I'm not a money, I'm not a master at finance, or I have no, training in this. Okay, this is just instinct, intuition, and I'm going with the cards and my intuition. Okay, so I'm not trying to give financial advice. I'm just sharing as a regular folks. This is what I do. Okay, so here we've got the Temperance card. So we're looking at silver. And so we got a yes here. So it really starts to pick up speed here. So this is past. So we're looking at the year, present situation. So it's kind of just, it's going up a little bit, but just sitting pretty here. Certainly not losing steam, right? Not just yet. Anyway, we've got the Ace of Cups there. So there could be some big movement here. Okay, so this would be past, present situation. So I get this is around middle of the year, just in the scheme of the layout here. I'd say that was about middle of the year. Now here, the hidden influence is, so a lot of people don't really have the patience to wait for it. Okay, so this card here says a lot of people are didn't get involved, or don't have the patience, or feel like they can't afford to get involved in it. Okay, so that's interesting, but that's only a 5, and it has been kind of held up. It feels like it's been years we've been saying there's going to be $600 an ounce silver, and it hasn't happened. Do you know what I mean? Like Cliff High's been saying it, I've been saying it, lots of people have been saying it, right? And it's just we haven't hit that mark yet, not even close, right? So we're still all waiting, and a lot of people in the meantime are losing hope and just letting go, or maybe even selling off their silver and just getting fed up. Okay, so that's the hidden influence. Okay, is that the temporary setbacks and how long it's taking is causing people to get all bummed out and just let it go, right? Which is totally understandable. I get that, right? Okay, so we've got the 4 of Wands. So now I'm going to say by April, you start to see, and there could even be, so that's 4th month, there's a breakthrough in April, and you could even start to see its potential here. So now we got 3 months of where it's up and up and up. Okay, so that's interesting. Okay, now this is really well aspected, the Tower. I would say towards maybe fall. So yes, it starts going up. It's not as fast. It hasn't happened yet. So a lot of people have let go of theirs already. But even by April, you're going to start to see a positive upward. Okay, it doesn't happen overnight, but I'd say by fall, you could have $600 silver, according to this card. So, or towards the end of the year anyway. Okay, so the Tower is, that's a big surprise, but it's a well aspected Tower. So the Tower is like a revelation. Okay, so things, likely it's because there's been a big revelation in the world that creates the silver to rise up like that. And the manipulation has been agreed upon in the back channels. Okay. And I feel like it's really been used a lot as part of this war, that silver. Okay. And we know who's winning this war. So that's why I feel like the silver finally gets let off the leash here. You might start seeing it even in April, May, June, July, going into the fall. And by fall, winter, I feel like we could have our big silver prices. So I'm hoping. Here's hoping. Okay, well, thank you guys. Sending you all ravens. And yeah.
Giống như thành Tế Nam, đây là một cái bánh mà Dương Lăng vẽ cho chúng ta. Nó đúng ra là một cái hố hắn đào. Đừng đi nữa Hồ ca. Đừng nhảy vào trong. Hãy nhân dịp quan quân chưa khép chặt vòng vây, đi vượt sông Bắc Tượng còn có thể có một con đường sống. Dương Hồ tức giận nói, để nó bề bãi cái gì đó, cứ lo dưỡng thương cho tốt. Để là tướng quân tiên phong của ta, chúng ta còn phải cùng nhau đánh cả thiên hạ, ngôi trên thiên hạ. Nói ba cái lời suối quẩy này làm gì? Thành Nam Kinh gần ngay trước mắt, Triệu Phong Tử đi Bắc Lộ, Lưu Thất đi Thủy Lộ, lại thêm chúng ta nữa, ba đường cùng đánh, nhất định có thể công hạ Nam Kinh. Chỉ cần công hạ được Nam Kinh, chúng ta sẽ có thể có tiếng tăm lừng lẫy, đoạt được vô số tiền lương, triều binh ngoại mã. Hàn Bách cười thảm, máu từ khóe miệng không ngừng chảy ra. Hồ ca, đừng trách người huynh đệ nói lời suối quẩy. Đệ đã sớm nhìn thấu, giành lấy Giang Sơn không phải là tranh đấu giang hồ. Chúng ta dũng mãnh nhưng mà đứng trước thiên quan vạn mã, cầm cự được bao nhiêu? Thiên hạ từ trước đến giờ đều không phải dành cho người như chúng ta ngồi đâu. Hôm qua ở Minh Giác, một quân Sa bỏ trốn, chính là cảm thấy chúng ta không có nối ra. Chúng ta 1 vạn người là sơn tặc, có tổ 100 vạn người vẫn là sơn tặc. Thối lắm. Dương Hồ nổi giận trừng mắt. Nếu không phải là Hàn Bách đang trọng thương như vậy, gã đã sớm tát một bạt tai rồi. Cái thứ tầm nhìn hạn hẹp chỉ biết nịnh hót a dua, để lại trong quân có ích gì? Hắn không từ mà biệt, ta còn bớt đi một phiền toái. Chúng ta toàn quân thẳng tiến, chỉ cần phá vỡ được thành Nam Kinh, thì đến lúc đó để xem đi. Hàn Bách đã không còn có thể trả lời gã nữa. Mắt Hàn Bách mở to, nhưng tần sắc trong con ngươi đã hoàn toàn không còn nữa. Dương Hổ lặng lẽ đặt thi thể của Hàn Bách xuống, xung quanh là mấy tên tướng lĩnh thân tín. Lý Dạ Ân, Dịch Thần Phong, ai nấy đều im lặng không nói. Dương Hổ đứng dậy lạnh lùng nói, Tiểu Cổ Chi Kim, người có được thiên hạ chẳng phải cũng nhiều lần trải qua gian nan, kiêu tử nhất sinh ra sao? Anh hùng từ chốn thấp kém, chúng ta chính là anh hùng, chúng ta sẽ không là người thấp kém cả đời. Toàn quân lên ngựa, chúng ta tiếp tục tiến tới, mặc kệ ai cản đường, điều kiện tiên quyết tiêu diệt. Quan binh càng ngăn cản chúng ta thì càng chứng minh bọn họ sợ Nam Kinh có mất mát. Chúng ta nhất định phải mau chóng tiến về Nam Kinh, cùng với Triệu Phong Tử Lưu Thất tạo thành vòng vây. Dịch Tần Phong nói, đại ca, thẳng tới Nam Trực Lệ thì chiến sự sẽ không ngừng. Rõ ràng là quan binh đang tiêu hao thực lực của chúng ta, muốn khiến chúng ta sức cùng lực kiện. Toàn quân đã không còn chút thể lực, có phải nên tạm thời nghỉ ngơi chỉnh đốn một chút rồi lại tiếp tục tiến lên? Không được, chúng ta nhất định phải mau chóng đi tới Nam Kinh. Muốn nghỉ chúng ta vào trong thành Nam Kinh rồi nghỉ ngơi. Dương Hồ cất cao giọng hét to với đám binh sĩ tàn loạn đứng khắp nơi, thân sức mệt mỏi. Các huy đệ, chúng ta tung hoành khắp đại giang Nam Bắc, Bắc quân tinh nhuệ nhất của triều đình cũng không làm gì được chúng ta. Thì binh dê cừu ở Giang Nam có đáng sợ chi? Đi theo ta, chúng ta tiến về thành Nam Kinh. Thành Nam Kinh có danh môn vọng tộc, thương nhân tụ hợp, vàng bạc chất thành núi, 10 dặm tân hoàng, có vô số mỹ nữ. Đánh hạ thành Nam Kinh, mỗi người các ngươi cũng có thể chiếm được một căn trạch viện lớn, có được tài bảo đến không xuể và mỹ nữ hưởng công hết. Các huynh đệ, theo ta xông lên. Tiền vàng cùng mỹ nữ bắt đầu động viên được đám binh sĩ. Truyền thuyết mỹ nữ trên sông Thần Hoài nhiều như mây, bọn họ sớm đã từng nghe nói. Trong thiên hạ Giang Nam giàu có nhất, trong Giang Nam thì Nam Kinh giàu có nhất, bọn họ cũng biết tường tận. Đám binh sĩ đỏ cả mắt cũng không biết là giết đỏ cả mắt hay là bị tiền vàng mỹ nữ dụ dỗ đến đỏ cả mắt. Cổ họng bọn họ phát ra tiếng kêu gào như sói. Bọn họ cùng vung cương đao thúc chiến mã đã tỏ vẻ mệt mỏi, bỏ lại những xác chết tiếp tục lao về phía trước, lao về phía hy vọng của bọn họ, thành Nam Kinh, lao về phía cái hố chôn người, chôn cả vàng bạc. Quý vị và các bạn thân mến, chúng ta vừa theo dõi hết tập 198 của Ngược về Thời Minh. Hẹn gặp lại quý vị cùng các bạn trong tập 199. Xin chào các bạn khán thính giả thân mến. Chào mừng quý vị và các bạn đã quay trở lại với Kiến Về Bệ Thống. Chúng ta tiếp tục cùng Đình Duy theo dõi tập 199 Chuyện Xuyên Không ngược về thời Minh. Quách Gia Trang. Một tòa quân doanh đứng sừng sững trên yếu đạo, có sừng hiêu, bụi gai, cự mã tướng. Trong doanh trại phía sau lại bố trí dày đặc cung tiễn thủ, câu liêm thủ, dây thừng gạt chân ngựa, hố bẫy ngựa. Trận địa của Lý Thủ Vị, Vạn Đô Ti vừa mới thu dụng một đám tàn binh bại lui từ lật thủy. Tiếng vó ngựa ầm ầm đã đến. Ở đằng xa, bóng dáng kỵ binh Bạch Y quân đang tiến lại gần càng lúc càng rõ ràng. Tiếng trống trận uỳnh uỳnh như sấm dưới chân trời. Từ chân trời truyền đến. Các tỳ tướng, nha tướng, thiên hộ, bách hộ, ai nấy đều về vị trí. Toàn quân chờ đợi Bạch Y quân đến trong yên lặng. Bọn họ đã đợi rất lâu rồi. Tình cảnh vạn mã lao nhanh và tiếng trống trận uỳnh uỳnh xen lẫn vào nhau không khỏi khiến lòng người cuồn cuộn huyết khí. Hỏa pháo, chuẩn bị, bắn. Cung nỏ, chuẩn bị, bắn. 10 khẩu đại pháo nổ vang. Một loạt đạn trì xa khoáng tan thành một cơn mưa sắc quét ngang tất cả trong phạm vi 100 mét. Đội tiên phong Bạch Y quân xông lên trước nhất, đồng loạt ngã xuống. Trên mã hoặc là ngã nhào xuống đất, thân hình cao lớn lại quay cuồng về phía trước mấy trượng, hoặc là mang một thân đầy máu tươi, đau đớn chạy ngang và chạm với khoái mã phía sau, dẫm lên cơ thể bọn chúng, đạp chúng thành thịt nát, đồng thời bản thân cũng người ngã ngựa đổ, tiếp tục bị người phía sau dẫm lên. Bạch Y quân vượt qua chướng ngại do máu thịt tạo thành, ngựa không dừng vó, tiếp tục xông lên phía trước. Liên tục chiến đấu khắp Nam Bắc, ngày ngày chém giết. Hiện tại những dũng sĩ có thể sống sót, bất luận là ý chí hay là võ lực không thể nghi ngờ, đều là kẻ dũng mãnh trăm dặm mới tìm được một. Nếu như không phải vì dần thất vọng đối với con đường phía trước, chiến lược của bọn họ có thể nâng cao thêm một tầng nữa. Nhưng hiện tại, bọn họ lại được cổ vũ thêm dũng khí, vì Dương Hổ đã vẽ cho bọn họ một cái bánh to. Vì cái bánh to, đẹp đẽ này, bọn họ đã vực dậy tinh thần, liều chết đấu tranh, dùng sinh mạng để đoạt lấy thời gian. Một đợt tên, hai đợt tên, chỉ bắn ra 2 đợt tên, hơn 500 chiến sĩ Bạch Y quân đã ngã trong vũng máu. Sau đó, khoái mã lao nhanh như rồng, đã xông đến trước mặt. Lùi, hỏa súng bắn, giống như đậu giang. Trong tiếng đùng đoàng, người ngã ngựa kinh sợ, lại một hồi chết chóc. Vũ dũng của quan binh không bằng những tên tội phạm nhiều lần tôi luyện qua làm danh sinh tử, đã thoát thai hoán cốt, trở thành chiến sĩ chân chính. Nhưng từ sự trang bị binh khí hoàn chỉnh đến trận thế chỉnh tề, vẫn không thể so sánh với bọn họ. Lùi nữa, thương trận ra tay. Một thanh trường thương giơ lên, lại là một thanh trường thương bằng tre, hơn nữa lại được cuốn chặt để không dễ dàng bẻ gãy. Trường thương, một đầu trống xuống đất, một mũi nhọn hướng về phía trước, dựng thẳng như giằng dập. Phù, phù, phù. Mũi thương khiến người ta run rẩy đâm vào da thịt, người hô ngựa hí. Bạch Y quân đỡ đội phía sau phản ứng không kịp. Phi thương cán ngắn mượn thế ngựa dốc sức ném ra. Đội ngũ quan binh cũng bị xé ra một lỗ hổng. Đã có Bạch Y quân xông vào đội ngũ quan binh. Cương đao sáng loáng vung lên, nghênh đón ánh mặt trời rạng rỡ, ánh lên cái sắc lạnh bén thấu xương. Lý Thủ Vị, Vạn Đô Ti đều cầm đao đốc chiến, có người tự ý lui chém chết không tha. Bọn họ nhận được nghiêm lệnh tất sát, liều lĩnh chiến đấu với địch, giết tướng tá. Đây là mệnh lệnh của Uy Quốc Tông Dương Lăng. Không ngài hoài nghi quyết tâm của hắn khi hạ mệnh lệnh này, cho nên bọn họ đành phải dùng kỷ luật chiến trường giết chết không tha đối với các binh sĩ. Chiến mã xung phong xá ra một lỗ hổng, nhưng Bạch Y quân còn chưa kịp vui mừng thì liền ảo não phát hiện bọn họ lại rơi vào nỗi nhục lúc ban đầu tấn công thành Nam Kinh. Bọn họ xông vào trận địch nhưng mà lại không tài nào lợi dụng ưu thế cơ động của mình để lặp lại động tác xung kích chém giết. Phía sau là con đường do người ta cố ý kê cao, đào thấp, còn đặt ngổn ngang những xe, trong đó còn có xe lừa và xe đẩy.